So, oh, wonderful. Now we are recording the meeting. Okay. So I am Dana Bristol Smith with Leap to Success. We're a women's empowerment organization based in Carlsbad, California. Welcome to our employer panel discussion today. We have 5 top employers here in San Diego County that are going to talk about job opportunities that are available within their organizations. We are going to open it up for questions at different times during the meeting, but if any of our participants have questions, please go ahead and put them in the chat. And then we will share your questions at a couple of breaks during the session. Many of the people with us today are graduates of our Leap to Confidence program. And I want to take just a moment to tell you about Leap to Confidence, because it's a program that helps women who've overcome trauma and challenges in their lives rebuild their self-confidence to take steps forward to create the life that they want to be living. And one of the keys to success is being employed and having that stability under your feet. And so that's why we're having this employer panel discussion today. Before the pandemic, an employer panel discussion used to be part of every Leap to Confidence program. But since the pandemic, we've had to change things up, and now we're bringing the employer panel discussion back. So I'm really excited to bring this opportunity to help make introductions today and help everyone who's here make more connections so that we can have more women who are rebuilding their lives take the steps forward that are necessary for them to have financial security in their lives. And employment is such an important part of that. Right now, I'd like to introduce you to Patty Stanford. Patty is our Director of Partner Engagement, and Patty's going to be our panel moderator today. And Patty, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you. And panelists, thank you for being with us, and participants, thank you for joining us today. Here's Patty.
Thanks, Dana, and welcome everyone. We're very excited about this, and I know everybody really wants to hear from the employers. So I'm going to go ahead and start the question part. And the first thing, of course, is I'm just going to call on each employer as I see them around the screen to introduce themselves with their name, the company that they're representing, and the role they have with that company. So I will start with Jessica.
Unmute. There we go. Hi, everybody. My name is Jessica Gerber. I am the Talent Acquisition Manager at Viejas Casino and Resort.
Thank you. Sarah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Porter. I work at Future Stitch and I'm HR, and I'm really grateful to be here. It's humbling to be with so many wonderful people that are making such a difference and having such resiliency.
Thank you. Arveen.
Hello, my name is Arveen, and I am a staffing coordinator with Amazon.
Thank you. And then Ashley.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ashley. I am the recruitment manager with Goodwill of San Diego. I've also worn a lot of hats with Goodwill, so I can, talk about a lot of different things with our organization as well. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here. And Miriam.
Good afternoon, everybody. So I'm Miriam, and I am with Equus Workforce. So I am a business solutions, and then I also, so it's /ESC liaison. So I have 2 roles. Thank you.
Thank you. So now then I want to go back through and ask each employer to tell us about your organization, including how you would describe your culture at your company, what opportunities that you're seeing that are good opportunities, whether they are remote opportunities in office or hybrid, whether they include health and other benefits, career path, and any other perks that may not be something everybody knows, best kept secret type thing, and the basic requirements for roles with your company, and then how criminal background also figures into your hiring process. And you don't have to remember all those things, so you can ask me if you want to go back. But let's go ahead and I'll go the other way this time and start with Miriam.
Okay, so first question. it was the, remind me again, the culture. So I would say we are all about helping the community because we do work, you know, we are the welfare work department. So we try and, you know, help people in need. So pretty much we help cash aid assistance. So I would say we are very like goal oriented. The main goal is to help the participants. And then, you know, we do look to promote within. So that's like the main priority, I would say, when it comes to like hiring. Positions. So we do have, there is different positions. We do have hybrid positions. We have remote positions. And then there's also like case management. It's mostly in the office. So that's pretty much how the positions work. We do start through a staffing agency. So it's like kind of like the 90-day probation. And then once, you know, you do get hired on with the company. What else? Did you ask about the benefits yet or not yet?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes. Okay. So they do offer benefits. So once you are hired on with the company, there is like the health benefits, PTO, dental, and then we get a lot of holidays, which is really good. Yes. So there is benefits.
Wonderful. And then basic requirements for the roles there as far as education.
So it's
Yeah.
it's based on, it depends on the position that they are trying to apply for. I'm not directly like HR,
Right.
but we do have the site, and I will share it on the chat where everybody can go ahead and check out the positions that we currently have open. And again, it starts through the agency, but you do get hired on.
Okay, great. All right. Thanks so much.
Thank
And
you.
then I will go to Ashley at Goodwill.
Thank you, Miriam. It's so good to see you.
You too.
All right. So culture at Goodwill. So, you know, the mission of Goodwill is providing employment opportunities to people with disabilities and barriers. So I think that really kind of defines what the mission of the organization is. We provide a lot of employment opportunities for folks that have had barriers, whatever that looks like, or various disabilities. I would say in addition to that, we're definitely like a supportive environment, really focused on, you know, bringing people along in their careers. You know, it's a warm environment for sure. You know, a great start for somebody that maybe needs a little extra support. Opportunities, it's really across the board. The vast majority of our open positions are you know, in our retail stores. So in our, you know, our Goodwill thrift stores, whether that's working on the sales floor or processing our donations or accepting our donations. But it is we're a full service operation. So, you know, we have positions in transportation and security, HR. What else do we have? An e-commerce department, EVS, maintenance. So really there's a lot of different types of opportunities available, depending on what you're looking for. And of course, with that, the requirements vary. For our, you know, our entry-level store positions, there's really not any specific experience required or education required. Just more of an adherence to, you know, our mission and wanting to get back to work is really what we look for. Benefits, you know, we offer comprehensive benefits for full-time employees. So medical, dental, a life insurance policy. We do have vacation that kicks in after 90 days of employment for all full-time employees. And, you know, as per the law, sick time as well. A couple other benefits, we do tuition reimbursement for folks once they've been here, I believe, 6 months. So that's a nice thing to take advantage of. In terms of a career path, that's another real strong focus of Goodwill is our, you know, our learning and development component of our organization. We really strive to promote people from within and provide, you know, a pathway to do so. So we have a robust leadership pathway, particularly for those retail positions to move into more managerial roles. And the vast majority, again, particularly in retail, the vast majority of our, you know, supervisors and managers, assistant managers have been promoted from within. And then the last thing I think that you asked for was addressing, you know, criminal history. We are certainly, you know, an equal employment opportunity employer. You know, we would of course never ask for employment or criminal history, again, as per law, you know, prior to being hired. All new hires do come in for what we call a contingency appointment upon upon being offered a job. And at that point, you would complete a background check, as well as a disclosure form at that appointment. So the big thing that Goodwill looks for is being truthful at that contingency appointment on the disclosure form. Really, everything else is case by case. Mostly kind of how something that appears in the report would directly affect the position that you're applying for. And then being truthful on that form, I think, are the biggest things that we would look for, but we certainly, welcome applications from folks with a criminal background. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Ashley. And as a former Goodwill person, I will tell everyone, all the participants here, that the CEO of Goodwill of San Diego started in the retail department as a district manager, I believe. But so there's definitely a career path. I know that for sure. And now I'll go to you, Arveen.
All right. Hello, everybody. So I'm here to represent Amazon, mainly all the warehouse positions that we hire for in the San Diego area. So basic requirements for us is just as long as you're above the age of 18 and willing to submit a background check and do a drug test. For when it comes to background checks, it is case by case scenario. And it goes through a third party as well, so we don't make the ultimate decision on that. And then positions offered, we offer from full-time to part-time, regular positions and seasonal positions. We also have flexible shifts where you get to pick and choose your schedules based off the location that you apply for. Benefits wise, there's tons of benefits. You get your 401k, you get dental, vision, 401k, healthcare spending, and then on your day one, once you get hired as an Amazonian, you'll get all those benefits on your day one. And then after 30 days of employment, you'll be able to go through our career choice program to further your career, whether if it's in college or a non-traditional school. So for associates, certificates, or even a bachelor's degree will actually help assist and pay for that tuition as well. Our culture wise, we are an equal opportunist employer as well, and we are very diverse in our company. So we have at least 13 affinity network groups that range from having Glamazon, Women in Finance, Women in Engineering, Black Employee Network, Asians at Amazon, Latinos at Amazon, families at Amazon. All these affinity groups actually go out into the community, help out the community by doing community service, doing small little workshops with nonprofit organizations, and we try to bring that culture into Amazon. Did I miss a question? I think I might have missed a question. I'm not too sure.
I do not think so. No, I think you got it all. Thanks so much, Arveen.
Thank you.
Very cool.
You're welcome.
And now Sarah.
Future Stitch is an innovative textile company. We actually have a couple different factories. In Oceanside, we're a quick strike factory where we print socks. Our founder and CEO is Taylor Shoup. He's actually my baby brother. And he and some of his buddies started Stance, if you're familiar with that company, where they were really the pioneers in this white space of socks being a commodity and something that maybe represented us artistically or fashionably. And so he went on to open up Future Stitch, where he is now our CEO and founder. Our biggest mission and purpose is to help justice impacted individuals, mainly women. We're very selective if we bring any men in. Or when we started this, it really was just for justice impacted women. And then we thought, there's a couple people that came to our door that fit well with this culture. And I think our culture really is based on people that want to learn. They want to find their passion and their purpose. And so we have learners and we have people that are involved, that they want to be community and be connected. And I always think of us as like these redwood trees that our roots don't need to go deep, but we just kind of lock together and we make a stable platform. We're in office. We have full benefits, dental, vision, health, 401k, life insurance that's completely we cover. Let's see what else. Holidays, vacations. We're family friendly. So some of our women will bring their kids, especially during the summer, and during Christmas and different breaks. We don't have childcare. There's no one that's like supervising them, but the kids that come, it's always the moms that feel like they can be here on their own in our kitchen area that they can see as they're working on the floor. And it's just made a great environment. I think that all of us are a little better when kids are around. So it's really nice having them with us. Our biggest thing that I am the most proud about and the most excited about is I know that being Justice Impacted, a big way to move forward in life is to educate yourself, to find that passion to learn and discover things that make you excited and want to break that cycle of maybe going back into the system. So we created a program with our employees called the Boss Stitch program. And this was something that we collaborated with them on. What skills do you want to learn? Maybe what did you feel like you missed out on in life, or we've always wanted to know about? And so we bring in people to help teach classes during lunch. We're an 8 to 5 operation here in our factory, printing socks, and our lunch break is an hour. So we take a half an hour of that hour and bring in professionals. We have a lady right now that's doing an anger management class because we have a woman that has to fulfill that through the court system. We have a woman that was fighting for her kids. She was only seeing them once a month through what the judge allowed. And so we had people come in and do certificate training for co-parenting classes and just nurturing children. But something that we have all the time is weekly yoga, weekly meditation, medicinal herbal studies. And we're just really involved with each other. We do a lot of things outside of, work where we, my kids surf. And so they took the employees surfing, San Diego Botanical Gardens, because we're finding that a lot of these employees are really interested in herbal studies. So we're just really wanting to always, we have we're a small crew, and we've only been in this area for a year. We have an office in San Clemente, and then there's other factories, but we really wanted to be bringing manufacturing back to America and also provide it to be something that could be a community for people that have just maybe not had the opportunities that other people have had. So the Boss Stitch program is really fun. We've done computer classes, just a number of things, whatever they feel like they want to talk about and learn about. We do promote within. We've already, everyone starts as like a production operator, so you can learn the whole thing where you're printing socks and moving forward. 2 of our employees have moved on to knitting. So we're teaching them to be knitting technicians. And one of our girls is now training for an HR specialist. And it's really fun. So I'm going to have a sidekick and I love her. So it's great. One of our girls is now into bookkeeping. So she moved into the bookkeeping position. And of course, we have promoted a supervisor, and also we trained one of our employees to do the printing. So we're all about what do you want to learn? How can we help you? And in the meantime, we're going to print socks and figure all this out together as this community. And you don't need to show up feeling like you need to know anything at all. We'll train you. We're here to help you become the best version of you, whatever that is. My brother is a massive entrepreneur, so he wants everyone to be like their own boss. And that's why we thought the Boss Stitch program was a cute name for it. And then obviously with a criminal background, that doesn't matter to us. To me, I look at individuals that have been through hard things as resilient. And that to me is the most amazing thing you can be.
Yes, thank you so much. That is
Thank
really
you.
cool. And Jessica.
So I am with Viejas Casino and Resort. Viejas is now celebrating its 32nd year here in San Diego. We are very excited. We become the #1 casino in San Diego, so that's been very, very big for us lately. Our culture is really built on fun. So first and foremost, we're a casino. We're an entertainment venue. We're where people want to come for fun, and that's part of our core values that we have here. We actually have 5 core values on property: community, authenticity, accountability, respect, and fun. And that really does kind of act as the filter of which we do everything here at the resort through. Because we are a casino and resort, we're very much like Ashley and Goodwill in a sense of we're like our own little city. We're like our own little village. Viejas has its own fire department. We have multiple food and beverage areas. We have multiple hotels. So the jobs that we have are so vast and so incredibly different. I was actually just telling Patty when we spoke last week that I just was working on hiring an assistant attorney general here at the resort. So from lawyers all the way down to fire department to guest room attendants, there is so much opportunity at Viejas. We promote 87% of our team members, or 87% of our leaders are actually promoted from within. Our benefits, we think, are killer. We've got medical, dental, vision. We're very fortunate. Our tribe, the Viejas tribe, pays 80% of our benefits, so very low out of cost to us. My personal favorite benefits are tuition reimbursement. We pay up to $5,000 a year in tuition reimbursement, as well as we added this awesome new chiropractic benefit. So you can go to the chiropractor for $10 a session, which I love. But there's just lots of great things at Viejas, from growth to fun, like I said, with our team member events. And we've got so many jobs open right now. Our process is a little bit different because we actually work on federal land, since we are part of a tribal reservation. So we do, even though we're in California and we're in San Diego, we actually adhere to all federal guidelines. So that's a little bit different for people when they come here. A question that's always asked is, does the tribe and do you guys pay taxes? Yes, we are not out of that, unfortunately. So you do still have taxes coming out of your paychecks. But it is very neat in that sense, because not only are you working for yourself, but you're also giving back to our tribe and our community. All of the money that we make at Viejas actually goes back to our tribal members and the infrastructure that we build around Viejas, which is super cool. But because we are a casino, we are a 24-hour operation. So a little bit different in the sense that you might be working swing shift with us. You might be working our overnight shift with us. We don't necessarily have Monday through Friday 9 to 5 positions available. And all of our positions are also here. They are not remote. They are on property too. But the growth aspect is huge here. I always like to talk about our general manager, Jimmy. He is our current general manager of the entire resort, and he started here 31 years ago as a maintenance person and has worked his way up to become the general manager of the whole property. I know, pretty cool story. So yeah, that's kind of Viejas in a nutshell.
And thank you so much. And Jessica, did you want to talk about the national gaming part of that too?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I got a little too excited talking about Viejas. So as I was alluding to, the onboarding process is a little bit different in a sense of when you are coming to work for Viejas, no matter what position you're in, you actually need to acquire a gaming license with us. And that gaming license does get processed through our gaming commission. Sounds a little scary. It's not. I always tell people it's just a little bit bigger than a normal background process. We are looking for 10 years history of where you've lived and where you've worked. And again, kind of going back to Ashley, it's all about the truth, right? So the more honest that you are in your application, the better it's going to be when you meet with the gaming commission. The process can take a little bit more time. It's usually about 3 to 14 business days to get cleared by our gaming commission before you can start. And then once you start, we put you through orientation 2 days so you can learn Viejas. But you do need to secure a gaming license. And in order to do that, we do not accept any team members with felonies.
Thank you. Thanks for that. And then Dana just put in the chat, and we'll start with you, Jessica, since you're off mute. How many employees do you have at Viejas?
Just kind of, yeah. So currently we've got about 1,800 that work here.
All right. And then Sarah, I know you said you guys are small. How many have you got?
Here in the Oceanside factory, there's about 20 of us, but in our office in San Clemente, I think there's like 6 or 7.
Okay, great. Arvine, do you know how many?
Well, if we're looking from all the way, just San Diego County itself, I would say somewhere between, if we're including like seasonal part-times and flexible pick and choose, the locations, I would say around between 5,000 to 8,000 employees.
Five to what?
5,000 to 8,000
Eight.
employees.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And Ashley, where's Goodwill in that now?
We are somewhere in between 1,100 and 1,200, I believe, throughout San Diego County. So we're
Okay.
far north is Oceanside, far south is San Ysidro,
Right,
Ramona to the east, Alpine to the east.
okay. And Miriam?
I'm not sure exactly of a number, but we have the location in Oceanside and the location in Escondido. And then there's case managers, and then we have like other programs. I'm not sure of an exact number, but it's a lot right now.
Okay, okay, thank you so much. And then we're moving to the next part, which covers how someone on this that's participating here, how they can find themselves getting in the door of one of your organizations and what's the best way for them to do that. And I want to start off with Arvine, because the Amazon process, a lot of you probably already know this, but it's totally different than your traditional employment process. So I'd let him go, and then we'll go more specific with everybody else.
Of course. So for Amazon, the process is very, very easy. If you go on amazon.com/flexible jobs, it'll bring up the page. It'll tell you, it'll be broken down into different categories of sortation center, fulfillment center, delivery station, grocery warehouse associate. So it'll be broken down, and pretty much it'll give you when you apply for your shifts, it'll give you all the information of which shifts that are available, if it's a regular full-time position, if it's a seasonal position, if it's a part-time flexible shift where you get to pick and choose your schedule, or it'll be early morning, late night. And then it'll also give you a possible start date. That possible start date can be from about a week and a half to 2 weeks out from when you apply for the position. And then once you apply for the position, you'll come and visit me and my team to go over all the locations you apply for. And then we'll run a background check and a drug test and then you'll get hired on once your background drug tests are cleared, essentially.
Okay, great. So in your world, you don't need a resume.
Yes, so there's no resumes, no interviews required, nor experience. It's really good for anyone that's just trying to get their foot in the door and just get experience, because we do offer a lot of career growth within Amazon as well. So it's very easily and streamlined. Everything's all done online.
And Arvine, what was the first position you had at Amazon?
I started off as a part-time sort associate in the Bay Area when I was in college, and worked my way up into HR staffing coordinator in human resources, which is in 10 days, 9 years. So I've been with the company for a long time. So.
And did I understand that you took advantage of the education benefit?
Yes. Yeah, so Amazon does help out with paying for tuition. Once you start working after 30 days, you'll get the benefits of going for the certificates, associates, and or bachelor's degrees, and non-traditional schooling. So that could go for pretty much like a high demand job like nursing, HVAC, mechanical engineering, anything that would fall in our career choice program.
Those are incredible benefits, and that's a great story. So share that story. I love it.
Will do.
And then for the rest of you guys, as far as getting in the door, I'd love for each one of you to talk about what's most important, the first step to get to you. Is it coming through the website, that kind of thing? And what's important if a resume is required, as far as what you're looking for on there, and things like how many pages, or does that matter? And do you want a cover letter or not? And are there other networking platforms that is a good way for people to find you too? So let me go ahead and I'll start with Sarah on this one.
You can just email me, Sarah@FutureStitch. That's it. I don't really care about a resume or a cover letter, to be honest.
Okay,
Or just get a hold of me, come in, let's visit. And yeah, so it's just Sarah with an H at futurestitch.com.
great. That's an easy answer. How about with you, Jessica?
Yeah, so ours is very similar to Sarah. We've actually shifted a lot since pandemic over the last couple of years. We used to require GED, high school diploma, things like that, but we've actually shifted a lot now. And so for us, either or, if you have a resume, awesome. If you don't, awesome. What we're really looking for that's most important to us is attitude. We're looking for a good attitude. We're looking for people who are easily smile or easily outgoing and can make these connections to our guests when they come on property. We can train for skills. So that's the most important thing for us. And then the easiest way to apply at Viejas is through our website, viejas.com/careers, or come to one of our hiring events in person. That also really will help you get your foot in the door to talk to our hiring managers on the spot.
And where can they find out about your hiring events?
Great question. So same, viejas.com/careers has our next one, and our next one is actually next week on the 16th.
Ah, great. This is perfect
Yeah.
time.
Yes.
All right. And then how about for you, Ashley? What's going on at Goodwill these days?
All right, so we do require an online application for all applicants. Certainly not a resume, particularly for our more entry-level store positions. That's the vast majority of applicants do not submit a resume, and that's totally fine. I would say completeness in the application really helps us a lot, just to show your whole story that you can on your application. We have a couple unique ways to kind of get your foot in the door. Every Tuesday, we, at all of our retail stores throughout the county, we allow for walk-in interviews between 11 and 2, as long as you've applied already, and ideally, have a copy of your application if possible. Any of our stores can chat with you about open positions. We also operate community employment centers throughout the county. We have one at Escondido, Oceanside, here in the Midway area in central San Diego, Chula Vista and San Ysidro. And we work closely with, the staff there, the career advisors there. So they refer candidates to us. If you've applied with one of our community employment centers, they can kind of help you, just get your application reviewed. And then I didn't mention this before, so I think I wanted to make sure I mentioned our paid training program here. We do offer a 3-month on-the-job training program in our retail stores, in our e-commerce department, and in our transportation department. And that's a really great opportunity, particularly for people that maybe have had pretty significant gap in employment, or looking to kind of really switch gears, or another barrier that maybe has made it challenging in the past to find regular employment. It's a really great opportunity. We do not accept online applications just through our general website for that program. You would need to actually visit one of our employment centers to do that. So I just wanted to mention that, but we are certainly accepting applications for paid training. So that might be a great opportunity. And if there's any additional questions about that, I'm happy to elaborate.
Great. And Ashley, I know you mentioned you've been in a few positions at Goodwill. Can you tell us kind of like how you got started in the different steps?
Yeah. I've been with Goodwill for it will be 8 years in January, which I never expected, really. I started in a case manager role in 2016, working with people with disabilities. Moved into a couple of positions, promoted within a couple of positions within that area. So I was a job developer. So I done a lot of work with employment of people with disabilities, and that's really still my passion. I moved into the manager of the employment centers during COVID, which was an interesting time because there really weren't, as you know, Pat, there really weren't centers for a while. There was a lot of online stuff. And then about a year and a half ago, I was asked to oversee the recruitment department, and that's where I've been since. So again, I can attest to Goodwill's goal of promoting from within. So
yeah, thanks so much for sharing that.
yeah.
And then Miriam, how about with you guys? What's the process there?
Or with us. So I agree with Ashley. I loved working for Goodwill, and it was great. So for Equus, it would be online. So it would be through equus.com/careers. And then they can also find a lot of the positions on Indeed. So that's how you
Okay.
can pretty much, and then they do require a resume. You do have to apply online. And then there's no specific, I guess it's just depending on the position that you're trying to apply for, that they might require a cover letter or not. For business solutions, I know they didn't require a cover letter. Not sure for case management, they might. And again, they kind of we don't look so much into as long as they have similar skills, anything else they can, we can train in that. So they don't have to exactly have experience.
Okay, great. One more question along this line about how different paths for people getting to you. I mean, it sounds like Amazon and Future Stitch are very straightforward. But what about, anybody want to comment on, have you had job seekers reach out to you on LinkedIn and let you know that they wanted to come work there? And if so, what impressed you and what didn't? Is that something you look forward to or not? And you can just go ahead, Jessica.
So I definitely have had people reach out on LinkedIn. Usually it is our non-entry level positions. Usually it's our management roles, leadership roles, things like that. I'm always impressed by that. I think it's always fantastic when someone is reaching out and is following up and things like that. Because we have so many openings right now, it can take a little bit of time for us to follow up with candidates when they apply. So having somebody reach out, I think, is always fantastic.
Okay, good to know. Are there any other networking platforms you've had that you guys are on that you hear from people like that, or is it mostly LinkedIn?
So for us, it's mostly LinkedIn. We drive a lot of traffic actually through Indeed as well. And probably between the two of those is where we get the most messages from. Also, side note, thank you to Joey. Apparently our next hiring event is not on our website. I'm so sorry about that, guys. It is August 16th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. So thank you. I'll make sure our IT team gets that up today.
And this gives you guys all a head start.
I love it. I know. Thank you, Joey.
Unpublished. How about anybody else had experience with people coming to you through LinkedIn or another networking platform that you'd want to comment on? Not really? Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that. Right now, is a time, if Dan is coming back, I think we're going to go through some of the questions that our attendees have placed.
Yeah, thank you, Patty. Well, I think a lot of the questions have been answered when you talked about the type of positions that are available. But there was one about Amazon and in terms of remote positions. So Arveen, I think you said that there were remote as well. Could you give a little more information?
Yeah, so at least for what we're hiring for, at least in our area, we hire for mainly the warehouse positions, delivery stations, fulfillment centers, sortation centers, or even Prime now. However, if you are looking for like a remote position that's more catered toward corporate, you would go, I can also send you the information. It'd be amazon.jobs to go onto to look for the corporate positions. And from there, you'll be able to filter out what sticks out to you or what you're interested in, what location, if it's a virtual or if you want to come into the office. As of right now, I'm not too sure what's available for the corporate side, but as of right now, I know we are going to be hiring for our warehouse positions for the full-time, part-time, and pick and chooser schedules for the flexibles.
Okay, great. Thank you, Arveen.
You're welcome.
And then there was something for Miriam. I know that you mentioned that you use a staffing agency. People were wanting to know what's the best way to find out about open positions. Would that be by contacting the staffing agency?
So it would be either if you go on the Equus website and then you try to apply it, I believe it'll directly like refer it to the staffing agency because that's how you will start employment. But also Indeed. So once you apply on Indeed, that's when the staffing agency contacts you as well.
Great. And just from a show of hands, how many of the employers use Indeed? I know it's been mentioned several times. So Viejas does, Equus. Ashley, does Goodwill use Indeed?
Our jobs automatically get posted there, but we do require that they apply through the website. So it's good for getting the word out about them, but we don't specifically use it for applications.
Okay, great. Thank you. And Louisa, thank you for putting the links. And I hope that all the attendees can see that all of the links are in the chat for each of the different organizations. And then there was a question at the very beginning about negotiating salary, but I think we're going to wait on that because Patty's got some more questions in that area. So if anyone else has any questions for the panelists right now, go ahead and put them in your chat, because this topic was really about the open positions and how you're finding candidates. But I know Patty's going to dive deeper into the interview process and some other details here. So I don't see anything else yet in the chat. So Patty, if you want to go ahead and dive in, we'll continue collecting questions.
Okay, thanks so much. And thanks everybody for your good questions. So once they've gotten in the door, as far as the interview goes, and then I know, Arvine, you're not interviewing, so you can take a little break. But the rest of you, and even though Sarah's might be informal more than formal, what's important for you in an interview? What are you looking for that makes somebody stand out and makes you think this person would be great on our team? And then on the flip side of that, what are some faux pas or mistakes that people have made that have made you know they weren't a good fit for the team? So let's go ahead and start with Sarah on this one.
I would definitely say attitude is a big one for me. Just how they compose themselves, and a willingness to learn and be involved. And I've had a couple people come in that just talked really badly about all their last employers. And that was kind of a flag for me that I guess that's really it. It's just having a conversation with them.
Okay, great. How about you, Jessica?
Very similar to Sarah in the sense of we're looking for a positive attitude. We're looking for somebody who seems like they're going to want to start a career with Viejas and grow with our company. Most of the skills we can train on. Things that are definitely off-putting during interviews would be, like Sarah said, talking ill about former employers. For us, schedule flexibility is huge. So again, there's not really a lot of opportunities Monday through Friday with us. So if you can work weekends, holidays, overtime, swing shift, graveyard, that's big for us, and that will definitely get you through the process a lot quicker. Yeah, and I think being a little bit prepared about Viejas is a big one. I've had people come in and think we're Sycuan or Barona, and that's always a big turnoff to us. So knowing that you're at Viejas and knowing just a little bit about where you're interviewing, I think is always a good thing to have too.
Do you guys do a phone interview first?
Not usually. It's usually in person, or coming to the hiring events is a big one. So hiring events are awesome because we have our hiring managers here at the event. They interview you on the spot, and if they think you're going to be a good fit for their team, you get offered right there. So you might walk in and walk out with a job during hiring event days.
That's great. And when you reach out, the ones who don't come to the hiring event, how do they know you want to interview them? Is it through email?
Yeah, so it would be through the avenues that you had initially applied. So it could be email if it's through our website or if it's through Indeed. And a good point with Indeed too that everybody else has mentioned is even though you apply through Indeed, we still have to have you apply through our website afterwards. So it's really just letting us know that you're interested through Indeed, but we still, because of the Gaming Commission, you have to do it through our website too.
Okay, so just make sure if you're applying that you're checking your email regularly.
Yes. Or
to,
phone calls. We also just added text messaging to our applicant tracking system. So we feel like we're in the year 2023 now. We can send you a text message if you apply, if you opt in.
yeah, Jessica, I'm glad you brought up the applicant tracking
Yes.
system. Do you guys use that to screen resumes or applications?
We do, yeah. So we do use it to screen resumes and applications, but really, again, for most of our entry-level positions, we're just looking for a good attitude. It's always nice for us to know how long that you've been at certain places. If you tend to kind of jump around and stay in places for a couple of months, that might be a red flag to us.
Yeah.
But if you're staying at places for a year or more, and we see that you're growing and you're moving, and that makes sense, then that's a little bit easier for us. But
Okay. Okay, great. And then how about with you, Ashley?
Yeah, I can really mirror a lot of what's been said already. I think having a positive attitude coming in is really key, kind of an adherence or an alignment with what our mission is to our organization. So with that, having a little bit of knowledge about what Goodwill is, a little bit more beyond that. Everyone knows it's a thrift store. Everyone knows they donate stuff, but having a little bit more of understanding of what we're all about, I think is a good. Is a bonus for sure when we're speaking with people. I think people that are looking for again, a growth opportunity, not just looking for a job, but looking, for some people they are, and that's fine too, but, looking for a place that they can grow and advance. And then, being on time and prepared. We do an initial, phone call. And the number of times I speak to somebody and they're clearly doing something else when I call, even though we had a set up time to talk, is pretty amazing. So, it definitely is a good thing when I can tell that, maybe you're ready for the phone call when it comes in, or you arrive to your interview on time. That obviously kind of goes to show how you'll be as a on-time employee. And then this is more of an application thing, but like Jessica said, having some flexibility in your schedule. We are our entry level positions are primarily retail, and retail is evenings and weekends. Often a reason you may not get selected for a position is often because your availability is limited.
Yeah, great, thanks. How about at Equus, Miriam?
So again, like everybody, attitude is very important, and also compassion. So somebody that's compassionate, because we do work with a lot of people that are, they're facing different barriers. So that is very important for us. Also somebody that can work under pressure, because we do constantly have to turn in things in emergency. So that's very important for us as well. And then flexibility, we do most of the time, it's like Monday through Friday, but there is times when we need to, attend events on a Saturday. So flexibility is important as well.
Okay, good. And I forgot, I know Miriam's joined Equus recently, like in the past couple of years, maybe?
About a year, almost a year.
That's why I'm not asking her this question. But Jessica, I remember you telling me when we met that you've been with Viejas for a while. Can you tell us a little bit about your path there? Did you start off in HR?
Oh my gosh, I probably, like most people's, my path has been nuts compared to what I went to college for. So basically, nutshell of this is I've been in the hospitality industry since 2001 is when I got started in this industry, mostly hotel operations. So when I came to Viejas, I started here in 2013, so 10 years ago. I started as assistant hotel manager. I actually lived in Vegas for 10 years prior to this. I went to UNLV, not for hospitality management. So you can get a degree and still do nothing with it, friends. Or you could not get a degree and still live your best life. It's either or right now. But my degree was in media communications, and so I love training. That's one of my favorite things to do. So I went from hotel manager to training manager here at the resort. And then during pandemic, I, for some reason, thought that I missed the operation. So I went back as spa manager, which I've never done before. But again, Viejas is awesome. They allow you to grow if you're interested. Did not like spa manager. I did that for 6 months. Then I went back to hotel manager, and then I came back into this role. So I've been in this role now for about almost 2 years. And again, it just kind of goes back to our growth here. If you're a hard worker, if you are on time, if you are positive, if you are overall contributing to the resort, there's really not anything you can't do. I mean, except for Assistant Attorney General. I'm not a lawyer, but pretty much everything is open. So that's kind of my career path, if you will.
Thanks for sharing that. And I just love
Yeah.
to hear people talk about they majored in something totally different and this is the life they're living. And we used to get so wrapped up about what are we going to major in, and just major in what you're interested in if you're going to school. And if you're not, just go to work. As far as when you do in-person interviews at your organization, what is the appropriate attire for someone coming in looking for a job?
That is a really good question. It's very much dependent on the position you're applying for. We're very relaxed in a sense of you have a uniform when you work for us in most of our positions. So if you come in jeans and a button down or things like that, we're okay. If you come in wearing things where there's a lot of skin revealed or it's just really not appropriate, that's not going to be good. But we're pretty relaxed as far as the appearance standards go with interviews. If you are applying for a leadership position or something a little bit higher, I would certainly suggest wearing a suit, wearing business attire, wearing proper clothing. But even our hiring events, you're welcome to come in casual clothes.
Okay, great. How about with Goodwill, Ashley?
I would say just about the exact same of what Jessica said. For, our store positions are more entry-level positions. A casual but neat is just fine. Neat and appropriate is just fine. It can never hurt to wear like a button down or a blouse, but jeans are fine. And then again, for our more professional, higher level positions, dress the part.
Okay. Does anyone on the panel have anything different to say about what they look for as far as attire goes when you're meeting with someone? Or are we all on the same page? You can just raise your hand if you. Okay. Then what are the most important questions you ask in the interview that let you know if this person's probably going to be a good fit for the team? How about you, Ashley?
I have a couple that I like to ask, and I feel like I usually get pretty good insights. I do like to ask, what made you apply to Goodwill? Why are you interested in working for us? And that kind of goes to show if, you've done some preparation, you kind of have a good reason for wanting to work for our organization. I like to ask, what you want to get out of the position. I don't particularly like, what are your goals in 10 years? Like, who knows? But, what do you want to get out of this job? And, what can you kind of, what do you see yourself doing in this role? What else? And we always, and a lot of other conversations that we have kind of initially are just, what does your availability look like? Are you able to get to work? Do you have, doesn't matter what it is, but can you get to this location? Okay. And you feel comfortable with that. So kind of those more, just kind of checking the boxes questions as well. And then I have a question that I kind of ask about, just kind of goes to communication style, how you handle conflict, things like that. Just kind of one of those more behavioral questions that kind of gets at, somebody's, kind of style of working with others and teamwork.
Yeah, great. How about you, Miriam? I don't know if you do interviews there, but I know you must have been interviewed. You came in.
I've been interviewed. And then we have for our department, we do participate in the interview. So for us, we would ask the question that everybody asks. So tell me about yourself. And we're kind of trying to, it would be more into like the professional than the personal. A lot of people get personal. So I would suggest just professional. And then we also do ask, just tell me about a time when, things got complicated and you helped somebody else either at like a client or maybe somebody that you were working with. So yeah, just the general questions.
Okay. And Sarah, I know you said it's about attitude, but what do they do or say that?
What I'm laughing about is, Miriam, I'm like the opposite. I always want to go personal. Like I want to, my favorite question to ask when people come in is, what do you enjoy non-professionally? Like when it's just your time, like what do you do? So that's something, I mean, maybe I'm just biased because I love to get to know people. So that's like more the way I go. But of course, also like that was said before is availability. We are a full-time, I mean, we're a factory. And so part-time just doesn't work. And I didn't really understand that at first when I came into this role. And then one of the employees explained to me that it's almost like ants moving, like you pull someone off if someone's part-time and it just messes the flow of production. So I think availability is a big one, you know, if you can be here full-time, but also I want to know what you're like, you know, what do you enjoy? And are there things that you want to learn and grow? Because I want to be able to help like fill any of those gaps. I think another thing is I always want to get across to people that are interested that we are fast paced, but there's also this attention to detail. So it's almost this movement of production, but also the ability to be aware if things aren't lined up or as they're flowing. So really just seeing if someone kind of has those characteristics and would enjoy it.
Great, thanks. How about with you, Jessica? What are your top interview questions that tell you the most?
I think it's a combination between probably everybody. So we like to certainly get to know people on as much as an appropriate personal level as we can during an interview. What are your hobbies? You know, where do you see this job taking you? Where do you see yourself growing? Why are you interested in working for the organization? I think that's one of the big ones for us. When I used to be hotel manager, I would ask people, what was your favorite book that you read? Things like that, just to get a very different perspective of them. But now in talent acquisition, it's a little bit different. And I think a lot of our interview questions are going to be also tailored to the position that you're applying for.
Okay, great. And Arvine, I know it's not a real interview, but you do meet with people when they come in. Are there some clues that help you know this person's going to probably be fantastic or this person really might not like this job?
To be honest, as long as they come in, like they have like intentions of working or just anything that has a good intention, that's what I usually look for. That's like the main thing for me personally, because depending on their intentions, that's how they're going to do well within the company. If you have an intention of having like that drive to keep moving, having that career growth, learning different things, then you'll do really well at Amazon. If not, you can have that intention of not wanting to be there, but then that kind of drives it away. But we don't steer away from that. We still try to promote that inclusivity of everyone trying to pretty much just start their journey with Amazon.
Thank you. And then Jessica, I wanted to come back to you for a second. I know Ashley shared with us about the paid training at Goodwill. And I wondered if you could share a little bit what you shared with me about the training you guys are doing on the job too.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up because I was like, oh, I didn't talk about that. So we are developing what we're calling affectionately Viejas Academy. And the first part of Viejas Academy is our culinary apprenticeship program. So if you're interested in this program, it starts September 1st, and it is a 16-week program where we train you to be a cook with us. So you learn from our incredible executive chef, Larry Benares. He actually used to work for Disney. He's worked for the San Diego Chargers. He's won Emmys, which is nuts. Like, how do you win Emmys in culinary? He's also won just incredible awards. So him and his team train you for 16 weeks. You go to class 9 hours a day with us. You start out as a kitchen utility, which are the people who work so hard in our kitchen, cleaning the silverware, cleaning dishes, cleaning pots and pans. And so you're working as a kitchen utility with us, and then you're going to school, Viejas school, if you will, 9 hours a week for 16 weeks. And at the end of that, you go from $16.50 to $19 an hour as a cook with us. plus, depending on what level of cook that you become. So that's our first academy that we have here, our Culinary Apprenticeship Academy. And then we're starting to build other academies. We're building a security academy where we will actually help you get your guard card in California, as well as get you licensed to carry firearms if you are an armed security guard with us. And then we have a transportation academy coming along. So we'll train you to be a shuttle driver with us. We'll pay for your Class B license, help you get passenger endorsement, and then get you promoted to become a shuttle driver with us. So a bunch of different academies are going to start rolling out, but this is our way of retaining team members, keeping you with our organization, but also helping you grow and achieve these goals that maybe you didn't even know that you had.
Thank you for sharing that. And if you guys haven't noticed, there's a theme with this group of every company here is offering clear career paths and opportunities for you to figure out what you want to do. So you don't necessarily have to go in there knowing, and you can get in and start and figure out what you like. And like Jessica, you might try something new and then say, whoops, I didn't like the spa, so put me back at the hotel. But I love that. That's one thing we were really looking for when we looked for employers to join this, because of course we are an empowerment organization and everything we do is based on choice. And I love, Sarah said a couple of times, just so you can be the best version of yourself. So that was a really important thing for us when we were picking you guys. I think we're about ready for another question break, Nana.
Well, I was ready to come in.
Come on in.
Yeah, and I want to make an observation too that I'm finding really fascinating about this panel. You know, I'm thinking back to before COVID, and when we would have employers in, you know, every other month and hear about opportunities available. I see such a huge shift in the employers' attitudes and welcoming. It seems like the market has completely shifted. There are a lot of openings, and it seems like for any candidate who is confident, who is going to show up on time, who's got a great attitude, who is ready, it seems like there's so much more available now in terms of job opportunities. And I know things have changed so much. You know, we had the Great Resignation. We've had so many people leave the workforce that we're still in this catch-up mode of trying to fill a lot of open positions. And I hear it from each of you that, you know, there's so much more available, and it's a much lower bar for entry is what it seems like as well. Like, oh, you don't even need a resume. Oh, we don't even interview. Yeah, it's so completely different. So it's really fascinating for me to hear from each of you on that, and hopefully to, you know, for our women who are ready to get back into the workforce or are looking to change careers, you know, what a great time it is. A question that's come up is, you know, what is your organization's perspective on mature candidates? You know, I know that for legal reasons, you know, all organizations have to welcome people that can do the job and fit them that way. But so I'm wondering if there's even anything you can say about this. So I'll just pose the question and see who would ever like to jump in and respond.
I'll go.
Yeah.
So for us, we don't really look at how mature a candidate is. We just look for the basics as long as you're willing to work and put in the effort. There are requirements where if something like it is a warehouse, so there are packages that are heavier. Sometimes it'll be 50 pounds or heavier, but we do have our safety team that walks around, and we have other associates that are willing to help out. So if a package is too big, we do a thing called team lift so you don't injure yourself. If there are any, or if there is anyone that is looking for accommodations for themselves, we do have our own accommodations team that will be able to provide information or accommodations for someone that is looking for it. I can also send you the accommodations information as well if anyone's looking for that.
Great, thanks, Arvine.
And I would just add on that, I think we're the same as Arvine. We're not even paying attention to age, maturity, anything like that. It really is just based on attitude. What skills do you have that contribute to this job? And as long as you can meet the work requirements and the physical requirements of the job, that's all that matters to us.
Right. Thanks, Jessica. And
Yeah,
Ashley, I
thanks,
know,
Jessica.
I mean, Goodwill works with people who have disabilities, and
Right.
that's part of the mission.
Right, yeah. Meeting those, requirements of the position, as long as you can meet the requirements of the position, with or without an accommodation. Knowing that,
Thank you.
we do have, like, I mean, we do have some physical work, so that's always something to keep in mind. Our processing workers and our donation attendants, it's some heavy stuff sometimes, so, if making sure it's a fit too, but as long as you can do the requirements of the position.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And-
Sarah, were you saying something?
No, I was just seeing if it looks like Sarah's ready to jump in.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say exact same thing. There's physical aspects to the job, like lifting. They say the boxes are maybe like 25 pounds. We're standing. So, I mean, age is not, there's all inclusive, like there's no barriers on that at all.
Great. And Miriam, what about Equus? Any?
Same for Equus, and
Yes.
it's not so much physical work for us. So as long as you can do the job, there's no requirement for that.
Great, thank you. And I'm wondering if there are any other questions I want to encourage folks to put them in the chat, because I know you've just covered the resumes, what organizations look for, and the interview process. And we've heard how important attitude is, and willingness, and learning about the organization. And, Ashley's, your question, I thought your question was really interesting. What do you want to get out of the position? So I think to have those things in mind and what I'm hearing also from each of you is so many opportunities for people to learn and grow and try things. So that's really welcoming. Okay, well, I don't see anything else here right now, Patty. So if you want to jump into the next section, and I'll keep
Okay.
monitoring the questions. Oh, wait,
All right.
something else just jumped in. Somebody's wanting to know, do you have administrative and professional jobs? And I think we've heard from quite a few employers that there are that variety of jobs as well, but so I see Miriam nodding. And
I think the only difference for Viejas is we don't have a lot of administrative positions. Our administrative positions fall within human resources, IT. The majority of our positions are not administrative. They are going to be those, not that you're working 24 hours a day, but 24/7 jobs that are available.
Yeah, same
Same
over
with Goodwill.
Future Stitch doesn't have many administrative jobs either. It's something that when something comes up, we'd love to hire from within, so.
Okay. And we do have someone who's looking for an IT position. So it sounds like the Viejas would definitely be something to look at as well. And I'm sure
Currently,
each of the
there are none
organizations.
open, but yes, absolutely.
Okay, here's an interesting question. I'll see if anybody wants to tackle this one. For those employers using strictly online employment process, how much does the AI filtering weed out the applications before a person views it? Or are you using automated processes at all? Yes, Arvine.
I'll take this one. So our online process is not through AI filters. We are currently using our own system to check everything for our process, for applications and background checks and everything. So we're currently not using AI for just filtering, especially for our warehouse positions. We want to make sure we have it available for everyone to apply for.
Great, thank you. Anybody else want to comment on that?
Yeah, we do not use AI at all. I don't think the organization has even discussed AI. We're not very modern with the technology here, but all the applications that come in are reviewed. I think this has nothing to do with AI, but our application our applicant tracking program does, put candidates into an incomplete bin if you don't complete all the steps of the application. And you'd be notified by email if you're incomplete. So I think that would be kind of the similarity that I could say, is that we tend to not look at the applications that are incomplete just because of time restraints. So I would urge everyone to make sure that you fully complete an application when you submit it.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, same
Well-
same for us. We're not using AI. We just got text messaging.
Okay.
And that's great. That will help so much.
My team loves it. They love it. It's been a game changer, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
That's great. Okay, I'll hand it back to you, Patty.
Okay, thanks. So basically, this part's just about our final section. I just wanted to go over what's important with follow-up after somebody's interviewed with you. Do you look for a thank you note? And if so, do you have a preference between email or handwritten? And does it make a difference? Is that still something that makes employers think somebody's really interested in the job? And whoever wants to go first can just raise their hand, or did you raise your hand, Miriam? Okay.
Yeah, so I've seen the thank you emails, so those are always really good. I haven't seen the handwritten anymore, but the thank you emails are very important because, it makes it seem like they are actually interested in the job and following up with you. So I would say a thank you email is very good.
Okay. Sarah?
I mean, just personally, I'm a big fan of writing thank you notes. I have 2 teenage daughters. I'm always leaving out thank you notes for them to sign when things happen. If I got a handwritten note for a thank you on an interview, it would blow my mind and I'd be super stoked. I've received one email once, and I just think that adds so much. It just shows that they put some effort and were thinking about the experience that they had when we shared space. So I'm a huge fan of it.
Good.
Always do it.
Good. Thanks for telling us that. And what about you, Ashley?
Yeah, I definitely value an email. I think, I can think of specific times, I think particularly hiring for positions in my department for, recruitment positions where maybe 2 people sent a note and the third person didn't. And that was nearly, I think all else equal, I think that could make a difference. When it comes down to trying to determine between 2 equally qualified candidates, I think that could be the difference. And otherwise, for our entry-level positions, it's very rare that we receive one, but it certainly is nice to see, especially if you include something a little bit more generic than, thanks for the time, thanks, if you maybe say something about, what we talked about, that you were, paying attention and listening, that helps.
Yeah. That's how I've always felt about it too. How about at Viejas, Jessica?
Same as what the other panelists have said. I think it definitely will push you over, especially if there's other candidates who are applying for it. But also very rare for our entry-level positions that we have somebody submit it. I see a lot of email that come through, which I think is amazing, and handwritten, that would be killer. Like if somebody hand wrote a thank you, I'd be like, you are hired, welcome to our company. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, right, exactly, Sarah. Like, oh my gosh. But again, right, technology, and it's so easy to send an email. And if you can at least just do that, I think that pushes you over the edge with this for sure.
Good to know. Good advice. And Arvine, do you guys get thank you notes?
So we don't get thank you notes. I get thank you emails, at least for me. Because I try to help out everyone individually on their application and everything, which is really plus for me, especially when I see them on the other side working in the warehouse and they've gone through our process. It makes me personally, I feel fulfilled that I was able to help at least one person get through the process, whatever the barrier was. So that's for me.
Great. And I see Louisa's raising her hand. Louisa?
Hi, my camera did something weird. But I want to mention something that we heard recently about thank you notes that I thought was interesting when we were talking with a few community partners. That there's one of them that received a thank you note like months after the person was hired because of the different locations of the organization. So I loved how many people are talking about thank you emails. I think that's pretty awesome. And I just want to mention that sometimes when an organization has different locations, the mailing it can be tricky. So it's interesting to actually ask the question.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've actually been in that situation where somebody I hired, I got the thank you note later. But but there's something about a handwritten note, I agree. And then like if say you have the interview and they've got to go through the background process. Anyway, how do you prefer they follow up with you? Do you want them to check back after their backgrounds come back and say, when can I start? Or what's too much? What's your preference?
I will start. This is actually something that if you get a job with us, we will specifically tell you, don't follow up with us. We are usually hiring about 100, 150 people a month. And we're going to do a lot of email communication with you and a lot of text messaging communication with you, whatever you prefer, after you've already been offered the job. So once you get the job and once we're waiting for your gaming license to come through, we are a very small team, so I always ask people, don't follow up with us. We promise we want you here, and we will call you as soon as you clear, and we'll get you started for NHO. So as far as onboarding goes, that's what we always ask our team members.
Good, and I'm glad you're really clear about that too.
Yes, in a nice way. We're not like, don't call us ever again. It's like just let us, yeah.
I can't imagine you not being nice.
Like, welcome to the team. Don't call us. Thank you so much.
How about with you, Ashley?
Similar, if you've already come in for your, what we call, contingency appointment, which is where your background checks in process. I think we try to be pretty clear, not about don't call us necessarily, but what the time frame will look like. So, I think you can rest assured that it's in process. If for some reason it gets to be, a week, 2 weeks, and you were kind of expecting to hear back like a week ago, feel free to reach out, in case for some crazy reason something, didn't slip through the cracks or something. But otherwise, once you're in the contingency process, it's just basically we're working through other systems, and we're as anxious as you are to get you on board. So I don't think there's a need to follow up unless, again, it gets to be, a time frame that doesn't seem realistic.
Okay. How about with Equus, Miriam?
From my personal experience, I would say, because the agency is the one that contacts you and does all that, they're pretty good, and they do text you, which is good. They'll text you whenever they need anything. So I would say our process is once they are ready to, move on, the hiring process is pretty quick. So I remember I did an interview on that week, and then I think I started late that week. So it was pretty fast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they're really good and real quick at hiring you. But it is good to follow up. So if you have questions about anything, it's always good for you to message and ask them and even call them.
Okay. Sarah?
I agree with what's been said before. It's not really necessary, and we're pretty quick. But if, we're sitting on something and we're debating about stuff, maybe like a week. Maybe give people a week so you're not really like bothering them, but you're still like, I'm here, and trust the process, like that was said before, that the wheels we're trying to move them, but maybe like a week.
All right. And Arvine?
For us, everything is, because it's all online, it'll actually tell you where you are in your steps with your contingencies for your background and your drug test. But once those are both cleared and completed, the next steps will follow right underneath it of your online orientation, what the next steps are, where your first day is going to be. But if you are getting confused off of that, you can always come to our office and get answers that way, or you can contact us online through our candidate support line. But we do go over all that once you go through our appointments as well.
Okay, great. So we are winding down. I really appreciate this. Has been so much great information. I to kind of close us out, I'd like to ask each one of you to just say, what's the best advice that you can give someone in the job market today in their job search? What is something that would you feel like is very important for them to keep top of mind?
I would like to share something. So I would say update your resume. So whenever you are applying for a job, make sure that you're tailoring it to that job that you are applying to, so that they can see, you know, the skills, the similar experience that you have. And then also when it comes to the interview, the reason I mentioned to try and keep it as professional as possible is because sometimes you can say something that let's say you have children, and you know, a lot of people don't want to hire people that have children, so it'll automatically disqualify you. So there you have to be careful of what you say a lot of the time. So I would say just try to keep it, you know, professional. It depends on the employer too. Sometimes you might feel very comfortable with that employer and they're fine with anything, but other employers are not. So just be careful with what you say.
Great, thank you. How about you, Jessica?
Very, very similar to what Miriam said. And I think because authenticity is so important to us, we really want to see who you are as a person. We really want to see your awesome personality come out in these interviews. And I would also say right now, kind of like what we've been talking about, is don't let a job where you don't think you have the skills hold you back from applying for it, especially in this market. Okay, going back to the assistant attorney general. So obviously, if you're not a lawyer, don't apply for those jobs. But I think that it's definitely worth applying for, getting out there, just doing these interviews, trying it. I think that will take you so far right now in this market. And be yourself.
Thank you. Sarah?
There's two things I think of. One, don't be discouraged, because this might be something that you think you really want, but if the door doesn't open, just keep trying, because there's going to be opportunities that maybe you come to that are available that you wouldn't have had if another door had opened that maybe wasn't a fit for you in your path. So you just keep going, you just keep getting back up. One thing that I feel like is beneficial is arrive early. And this sounds so basic and dumb, but sit in your car early in that parking lot and just feel your body breathe. Slow everything down so that you come in calm, starting soft, you're clear, and you're not as nervous as maybe if you don't sit still for a little bit. So that's just a little gem I always tell my kids, like, be early so that you can move slowly, and then you think more clearly and you can have a better conversation.
That is such great advice. That is such great advice. Dana's back on the screen. That's dear to our heart. How about you, Arveen?
For me is, to be honest, to be open to the possibilities from anything you apply for, because there's a lot of career growth in every sector at least from all the panelists I've heard. There's a lot of growth, and just be open-minded to what you can learn, because you're going to be learning while you're in one company or another. So just open up the possibilities to that.
Thanks. And how about you, Ashley?
Yeah, lots of great tips that I kind of agree with as well. I think, you know, for positions, maybe when there's, like was mentioned, if there's a position that has, like, you know, 18 qualifications listed and maybe you're missing a few of them, still apply. Don't think, oh, I'm not qualified. Like was mentioned, you know, especially in today's market, it's hard to find somebody that has everything. So, you know, don't let that hold you back. I think arriving early is great advice. That's always been kind of something that I've found to be extremely helpful, so that you can be prepared. We even encourage people, you know, to sometimes, you know, map out your route ahead of time. If you're going in for an in-person interview, find out how long it takes and where you have to go, and, you know, just really, you know, be prepared. And then that really eliminates so much stress that's unneeded. Yeah, and go in with a positive attitude. You know, if it works out, it works out. If not, there's, yeah, like I mentioned again, there's always going to be, you know, another opportunity, whether it's with this company, you know, maybe even interview for a job that, you know, is not your top choice, you know, and we might see something in you that is like, oh, I wouldn't have even called you, you know, for this position necessarily, but because of this interview, you know, we can really see that you're more qualified for, say, X role instead. So always take the interview, you know, always apply.
Great. Such great advice. And Dana, did you want to?
Yeah, I did. I was just noticing that there's a few questions that are very specific in the chat. And
Okay,
if our panelists would want to answer them in the chat, that could be useful. There's one for Jessica. There's one for Sarah. There was a question earlier. Actually, there's a couple questions for Sarah. A question earlier about best strategies to negotiate salary. And I don't know if that's really a question that this panel would be interested in discussing, or if that would have to be tied to a specific position. I'm not sure. So I'll just toss that out. If anybody would like to respond to that, please jump in.
I will, I'll definitely take this one. So I think it's fine to just ask. If there's never, for us, there's never any harm in asking for more. Worst case scenario is that they say no. But I think it's totally fine and totally warranted to show your worth and to ask what you're looking for. A lot of our hourly positions, they won't change the wage that we're paying. So a lot of our positions are $15.50 plus tips. So some of those don't flex, but a salaried position, absolutely. But I don't think it ever hurts to ask.
Great, thank you. And the candidate definitely has to have confidence to ask. And that's one of the things that we're helping women rebuild that confidence. So I know that it makes such a difference to help get in the door and help retain a job as well. And just one final thing, if any of our panelists want to continue the conversation with any of the folks who are part of this webinar, if you'd like to do that, please put your email in the chat area so people can reach out to you directly. If you're comfortable with that, or if there's a general HR email that you would want to have people contact, please put that as well. And then those more personal questions can be asked that way, and those specific questions. But I'll let Patty do the final closing, but I want to thank you all on behalf of Leap to Success for being with us today, for sharing your background, sharing with us about your organization, and really helping our folks see some new possibilities for moving forward in their lives with some great employers here in San Diego. So on behalf of all of us, I want to thank you.
and that's really what I want to say too, is thank you. I knew I had a great panel from getting to meet with all of you ahead of time, and it surpassed my expectations and made me feel inspired and hopeful. And I'm happy with my job, but I really appreciate
I'm glad.
Except that backdrop Jessica has is kind of appealing.
I know. Might have to go visit Viejas and sit under one of those cabanas.
It'll have to be
We
one
have
of our
plenty of opportunities, guys. Plenty of opportunities here. Also, I'd like the record to
But,
show I'm not sitting there. It looks like I'm laying on the lounge. That's false. That is a background image.
But thank everyone, and thank the attendees for showing up too. And I will be reaching back out to everyone to get your feedback on how this went and how we can improve in the future too. But
Yeah.
I will appreciate your time and what you're doing in the world and helping people to grow and learn and get their lives. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.